Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for this video. Welcome! How are you doing today? We are gathered here on this day of our Lord, Friday the 13th, to talk about a good old-fashioned Catholic scandal. Now, this isn't a real book. It's hollow. But I do have Pocket American Sign Language Dictionary. It's a pretty good read. We do have a very interesting Catholic scandal going on right now, and like usually Catholic scandals are a bummer because they involve abuse of children. But no, this one's, it's all the adults. The adults are getting wild, the nuns are fucking the priests, and they're all flipping on the fucking friars, or the bishop, whoever they got. I am Catholic. Like, I feel like if you're born Catholic, you have to stay that way regardless of what you believe now. I feel like that's the same with Jewish people, right? Like, if they are Jewish, they're just Jewish, whether or not they believe anything else now, they're still kind of Jew. Am I wrong? Was that offensive? I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. I'm just kind of uneducated. Public school and Catholic school did not teach me about that. So you know how I like to print and read documents in these videos? Oh, girl! This is thick. And we're going on a journey. Because there's drugs, there's sex, and I think, pontification. This is exciting. We're going to begin with the Slate article before we dive into the legal documents, because I pulled those too. Photo illustration by Slate. There's a strange saga unfolding in Austin, Texas. All right, and it's not me this time. Scuffed editing me here. The headline of this article, to this very day, says that this is a scandal happening in Austin, Texas. It is not. All of this is going on in Arlington, Texas, which is like not Austin, and it's hours away. And I'm sorry for perpetuating the falsehood that any of this is occurring in Austin, Texas. It's not. It involves allegations and accusations of illicit sexual relationships, drug use, theft, abuse, spying, planted evidence, and plots to steal a multi-million-dollar property. I feel like for the record, we need to I'm just gonna let everyone know. This necklace that I'm wearing, it's a miraculous medal that my maternal grandmother got in, I think, Italy back in the olden days. And my mom strung it on this tiger's eye for me. So I don't know, I'm a sucker for Catholic imagery. I think the shit's pretty. Okay. What has become an open, bitter feud between the Bishop of Fort Worth and 10 cloistered nuns in Arlington has scandalized and thrilled American Catholics. I mean, we're loving it, aren't we? The cops, the courts, and the Vatican are involved, dude. Onlookers are taking sides. That's you and me, dude. We're the onlookers. We're the onlookers picking sides. It's still unclear who's going to come out on top, and it all started with a startling confession from a devout nun. Let me get my glasses on. We gotta do some math. The series of events began in December 2020, shortly after Mother Teresa Agnes Gerlach, the 43-year-old prioress of the Discalced Carmelite nuns of the Monastery of the Most Holy Trinity in Arlington. She had a seizure. So Gerlach, who had joined the order as a teenager, who let her make that? I mean, I guess she was a legal adult teenager. And legal adult teenagers make really bad decisions. Side note, a kid I grew up with, like, his mom and my mom were, like, best friends growing up. I guess when we were in our very early 20s, he decided that, like, he wanted to go to school to become a priest. So, like, he did that. He went to school to become a priest. He didn't become a priest. And then last I heard, like over 10 years later, he's moved back to Austin from New Orleans. And he's not priesting, but he was giving a sermon at my childhood Catholic church. Well, I guess childhood Catholic. It is my home church. Young people do some weird shit. Oh, I'm feeling for Teresa Agnes Gerlach already. Okay, so what they're saying is we're going to call her Teresa Gerlach. She joined the order as a teenager, right? She normally lives a life of quiet prayer and seclusion. What else is there to do? But she told a priest and her caregiver, another nun, who else would it be, that she had committed some kind of sexual sin with another priest. Spicy, spicy. The story probably could have died there. Unluckily for Gerlach, that priest appears to have told his boss, the diocese bishop, Michael Olson, and when Olson got wind of the confession sometime in April of 2023, he would kick off a strangely intense drama that spiraled into levels no one could have predicted. These gossiping motherfuckers! Here's how things went. Okay, so according to statements by the nuns, this year, 2023, on April 24th, Olson, the bishop, demanded that Gerlach, the nun, let him and his companions into the cloister and that she hand over her laptop, cell phone, and iPad. And then he interrogated her. Get the fuck out! You're not coming into the place where I live and fucking demanding my shit and asking me anything. We're not doing that ever again. No, no, no. Mm-mm. I once dated a guy where, like, early on, I thought, like, wow, he's so interested in me. I'm so interesting. And it's like, I realize now that I was actually just being interrogated because all of that information that was pried out of me was used against me forever and ever. Amen. So I cannot believe this nun, 43 years old. I feel like I would know better at 43. She probably doesn't because she's a nun. Don't let some man come up in your home and demand your shit and interrogate you. I'm sorry, honey. What the bishop discovered in that questioning is still unclear. One anonymous insider told The Pillar, a Catholic publication, that during the initial admission back in 2020, Gerlach had been in and out of lucidity because of medication she was on, making the key admission at the center of this whole drama entirely unreliable. She said some weird shit while she was wasted coming out of a surgery. People say really weird shit after surgery. Perhaps the drugs so confused the nun that she hallucinated a sexual encounter or exaggerated some lesser guilt. Lustful thoughts could still count. Or they lowered her defenses so that a real secret tumbled out. Ugh. Regardless, at some point during her April 2023 interview with Olson, I'm sorry, I know people don't like it when I wear my glasses Okay. Gerlach admitted to a consensual sexual encounter with a priest, clarifying that it had been over text or video, but certainly via phone and not in person. The priest who was allegedly at the other end of the phone or video communication was later identified as working for the Diocese of Raleigh, North Carolina. He hasn't said anything about the allegations, but he has been suspended from public-facing work as a precautionary measure until more clarity regarding his status can be ascertained. The drama continues. But the sexting confession itself was questioned too. The nun's version of events places the April 2023 confession on the 25th, as Gerlach was recovering from a recent surgery and was still groggy from anesthesia. Dude, anesthesia is fucking weird. I swear to God. This was something I tried to, like, not be too vocal about when it happened last year, but my ex-boyfriend, who I was with for 8 years, he had a cancer scare last year, and he had to have, like, a laparoscopy where he stayed in the hospital for 5 days. They cut out a chunk of your intestines. They stitch the ends back together and pray for the best. He definitely was weird as shit every time he came. Both times he had to come out of anesthesia. And, like, don't even get me started on the being on pain meds and then, like, refusing to take the pain meds while being in pain because you're afraid you're going to get addicted to the pain meds. So, like, they're placing way too much weight on this, this woman's, like, confession. The bishop's version of events has her confessing the previous day with a clear head. At some point in this 2-day period, she did admit something sexual. An audio clip would later prove so, but the timeline is murky. Oh. And I thought I hated Discord drama. Crucially, for our narrative and for the drama that would come, Bishop Olson didn't limit his investigation to just his conversation with Gerlach. He started pulling the rest of the nuns in for separate interviews. What a psychopath. Now, it's important to know some things about Carmelite nuns. I don't know anything about them. These women are the kind of nuns you might picture when you think nun. Is there a different kind of nun? They wear full traditional habits, live entirely at the monastery, gather 7 times, I lost a page, a day to chant prayers and spend the rest of their day either in silent prayer or doing manual labor. Just what women were built for, huh? Female bodies. No one from the outside is allowed inside the monastery except in very special circumstances, and the nuns don't leave except to get medical care. As Gerlach's lawyer would note, lawyers got involved pretty quickly. Gerlach had likely been around only 5 or so men in the past quarter century. I'm sure she was real horned up. So with all this new activity and hostility, the nuns got fed up. On the 3rd day of the investigation, furious that these men had stormed their peaceful little oasis. Tell them, girl! The nuns refused to be interviewed until Olson followed proper protocol with lawyers on hand. Bishop Olson didn't like that. Of course he didn't. He's a man. The bishop threw a temper tantrum and in an agitated and raised voice yelled that the monastery was shut down, no mass would be celebrated, and then he slammed the door and left the monastery, traumatizing the sisters. Where does he live? Where does he live? He lives at a church. I'm just asking where he lives because I'd like to attend a mass. Just to pray. Bishop Olson, for his part, declared by the end of his 3-day investigation into the Carmelites that Gerlach could no longer lead the order. A quick pause to note some facts about Olson. This is written, it's not my quick pause. In 2018, an old friend who'd said she'd once felt that Bishop Olson was a son to her testified in an unrelated defamation suit covered by the Fort Worth Star-Telegram that Olson was obsessed with his power. No shit. Believable. And became so jealous of well-liked priests that he would kick them out of the diocese. The friend also said Bishop Olson admitted that he'd shut down a Catholic center because there were just a bunch of women in there. The nerve of those women to be in there. Nuns who he called aging lesbians. Bishop Olson, I would like a word with you. Additionally, some 1,600 people signed a November 2019 petition to have the Vatican investigate Olson, claiming he was vindictive. According to the petition, he referred to parishioners as merely sheep and nasty people. And then, in 2022, Olson forced out the president of the local Catholic Charities because that president had organized a women's empowerment summit, something Olson thought was aligned with the principles of diversity, equality, and inclusion, which, in his view, are most truly hostile to the principles of the gospel of Jesus Christ. This man has a personality disorder. No cap. Motherfucker's a cluster B, I swear to God. So that kind of personality may explain how an investigation into a nun boiled over into an open conflict. Back to the story, Olson, angry that the nuns were not cooperating, sent the women a letter warning that they could be dismissed from their order. He demanded that Gerlach go on administrative leave, banned Gerlach's caretaker from having any direct communication with her, the caretaker who was caring for her after she got out of surgery. And he banned the nuns from holding daily mass for the public. I'm sorry. He banned them from holding daily mass for the public. What the fuck else are they supposed to do? And they can't take care of their fucking sister who's recovering from a surgery? Get fucked, Bishop. This was too much for the sisters. On May 3rd, they hit Olsen with $1 million lawsuit that claimed Olsen had violated their privacy, because he did, by taking their equipment and then monitoring their communications, or as they put it, for spying on them, because he did. The lawsuit also claimed that Olsen was controlling, because he is, and that he told Gerlach where she can eat and where she can sit, banned her from her private bedroom, despite her poor health and need for constant medical care, and cut her off from communicating with her caretaker. Plus, the nuns couldn't pay their bills without their confiscated electronics. Olsen's actions were, according to the lawsuit, pure evil. 'Cause they fucking are! On May 16th, 2023, Bishop Olsen posted a statement on the homepage of the diocese website announcing that Gerlach had violated her vow of chastity. Did everybody need to know that? Did they? Or could you have let her quietly step away? Fucking psycho, dude. So at that point, the matter wasn't private anymore. He put it online. The nuns add claims of defamation and theft in their lawsuit. As the nuns' lawyer, Matthew Bobo, saw things, this wasn't just a matter of heavy-handed discipline. Bobo told the Daily Mail, the Daily Fail, but sometimes do get a scoop, that Olsen wanted the nuns' electronic devices for calculated reasons. The devices contained the order's donor list, which Olsen could copy and use. And in more of a long-run ploy, Olsen was trying to steal the nuns' property from under them by taking control of their accounting. He wouldn't be the only person to make... The lawyer wouldn't be the only person to make this claim! Aren't you glad none of this involves children? So, this infuriated Bishop Olsen, who sent a letter to the nuns telling them that he would not reinstate the daily mass and confession because they were pushing a false narrative and inciting hatred. Y'all just haters. Shake the fucking haters off, Bishop. You piece of shit. So the attorney, Bobo, went on the counteroffensive, further publicizing the nuns' claims. Yes! If anybody tries to shut those women up, let him say it louder. He stuck to his points. Sister Gerlach was innocent, and Olsen, Bishop Olsen, was a schemer who had no right to step in, especially because the nuns answered directly to the Vatican and not the local diocese. Then Attorney Bobo went a step further. He got the cops involved. Sometime in late May or early June of this year, Attorney Bobo contacted the Arlington police to ask them to investigate whether Bishop Olsen had illegally seized the nuns' electronics. This was possibly poor timing because on May 31st, the Vatican put out a strangely error-ridden decree giving Olsen governing authority over the nuns. Oh no. Oh no, oh God. I'm starting to have flashbacks to my abusers. Hold up. Holy shit! Alright, I got chips and salsa to take as needed. Let's keep going, shall we? So, even though the nuns had previously only answered directly to the Vatican, somehow Bishop Olsen had managed to get the Vatican to issue like a decree saying that Bishop Olsen is now becoming the direct governing authority over that monastery or nonastery, whatever it is. And so they would now have to respond directly to Olsen instead of to their previous boss, the fucking Vatican. Oh, this manipulative fucking psychopath. Okay, so this news came as a huge blow to the nuns, but at this point, they had allies. A lay Catholic group dedicated to supporting them held a prayer service in a public park that was attended by 100 people who showed up in solidarity. Bishop Olson, in June, sent the group that had organized the prayer service a notice telling the members they were complicit in rebellious disobedience, and that the group should send its supporters an email rescinding calls for donations for legal fees for the nuns. I ask that you copy me on the email by which you rescind this invitation, he wrote. Unimpressed, the nun support group sent out another email a few days later reminding people where they could donate. Get fucked, Bishop Olson. Meanwhile, the official church investigation under Olson wrapped. Unsurprisingly, given the tenor of things, Olson declared Gerlach guilty and formally dismissed her from the order. She had 30 days to appeal to the Vatican, which she did. At this point, Olson may have been winning the internal power battle, but not that of popular opinion. On June 7th, the news of the criminal investigation by the Arlington police into Olson broke. Seemingly in retaliation, the diocese sent the Fort Worth Star-Telegram what it clearly thought was a trump card: photos allegedly taken in the monastery by a confidential informant that showed marijuana edibles, a bong, and other drug paraphernalia. All of this because he got word of inebriated on anesthesia nun saying that she had sexted a priest in Raleigh, North Carolina. Is that really what's happening here? The drugs, according to the confidential informant, were in the craft room. That's where they belong. Gerlach, with the help of a layperson, had driven to Colorado multiple times to get the drugs, the informant said. Now, Bishop Olson got the cops involved on his side of the squabble. Arlington police released a statement saying that they were looking into the matter. I'm sure they care a whole lot about the nuns smoking fucking weed. And this move backfired disastrously for Olson. Or perhaps it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Attorney Bobo, the nun's lawyer, as well as others, accused Bishop Olson of staging the photo and sending it to the press and the police in a revenge plot, because he did. In an effort to set the record straight, Olson put out an awkward, slightly sweaty 8-minute statement on YouTube. Oh, we gotta see this. If I can find it, if it's still available, I'll link it below. So he put out his YouTube statement on June 11th of 2023, denying various rumors, including spying on the nuns, trying to steal their land, and planting drugs in the craft room. What a fucking psycho. I mean, listen, it is one man versus a whole gang of women. People are going to tend to believe the man, right? So when they don't believe the man, that's when you know. That's when you know. You know? You know? According to his narrative, Gerlach had some kind of sexual encounter and done illegal drugs and had even crossed state lines to acquire said drugs. A federal offense. And instead of facing the repercussions, she had called upon her sisters and used her image as an ailing, pious woman to garner public sympathy before attacking Bishop Olson in the courts. Oh wow, look at him. He's such a victim. Okay. But more bad press was headed Olson's way. The next day, the Fort Worth Business Press ran an article quoting a philanthropist whose mother had donated land to the nuns. The philanthropist, Sheila Johnson, hey girl, hey, argued forcefully that Olson was going after the nuns' 72-acre property, which, according to the business press, is valued at $3.8 million, but could be worth much more if sold to developers. This is nothing but a ploy to get rid of Mother Teresa and close the monastery, Sheila Johnson said. Mother Teresa being Gerlach, not the dead one. Johnson also told the paper she would get out there in front of the gates with a shotgun to protect the monastery. She added, of course, it wouldn't be loaded. Cheers, girl. In late June, the nuns had their own setback when, in a hearing in court, the diocese legal team, how does the diocese afford a legal team? That's okay, played a recording that included Gerlach's confession to twice committing some kind of sexual act over the phone or on video chat. Puncturing the argument some had made that she had not actually admitted to anything sexual. During that hearing, the bishop also testified that 3 employees of the monastery had come to him with reports of marijuana use, and that the bookkeeper had found receipts for items from an Arlington smoke shop. He also said the informants had detected the smell of marijuana. Okay. Olson said he immediately reported the allegations to the police. He's a snitch! I feel like Jesus wouldn't like that. That is not very Christ-like of you, Bishop Olson. By the end of June, the police and the courts finally decided that this was a church matter and bowed out, leaving all the final decisions up to the Vatican, which is where things remain. But that isn't the end of the story. Last month, hostilities truly exploded with a final shot across the bow from the nuns. Get 'em, girls! On August 18th, 2023, after several quiet weeks, the Carmelite Order of Arlington, Texas, put out its most dramatic statement yet, banning Olson from the property and refuting his authority. Praise God. Holy Mary, Mother of God, is on our side, dudes. Here's the thing about Catholics. We love Mary the most. Why? Because she started this shit. Christians wouldn't have none of their fucking Jesus shit if it wasn't for Mary. Female empowerment. We hereby state that, in conscience, we no longer recognize the authority of, and can have no further relations with, the current Bishop of Fort Worth or his officials, and forbid him or any of his officials or representatives to enter our monastery property or to have any contacts or relations with the monastery or any of its nuns or novices. No one who abuses us, as has the current Bishop of Fort Worth, has any right to our cooperation or obedience. The nuns further accused Olson of intimidation, aggression, private and public humiliation, and spiritual manipulation in service of his ambitions. They had been abused, they wrote, at the hands of a man who, in the pursuit of his unspecified personal ends, does not fear to shout at nuns or humiliate them. A man who, they wrote, engaged in power plays. They expressed concern for their own spiritual and psychological safety and called for Olson to repent and apologize. This may seem like a random moment to bring up a dry liturgical matter, but there's more than a slight political edge to that decision. Bishop Olson may be a bully who hates DEI. What's the DEI? Whatever. But he was appointed by the more liberal Pope Francis, and some automatically associate Bishop Olson with the Pope's more controversial, read liberal positions. Now, I'm pretty sure all the Pope did was say gays are okay. I don't feel like that's a very liberal position anymore. No move of Francis's has been more controversial within the church than his crackdown on the Latin Mass, a traditional form of worship that has come to be associated with the political right wing. By taking this stance, essentially declaring they would return to the Latin Mass, the nuns planted themselves at odds with Bishop Olson and the Vatican. No, I don't think that that's a political thing by American standards. Latin Mass. To make politics even more explicit, later that Sunday, Archbishop Carlo Viggiano cheers, bud, put out a statement supporting the nuns. Viggiano is a right-wing conspiracy theorist who wants their deaths of Vatican's liaison to the U.S. Church. He has become so eager in his advancement of global anti-Pope Francis conspiracy theories that he can be reasonably described as the church's equivalent of QAnon. Oh no. Oh no. In his statement, Viggiano described Olson's actions as part of a subversive plan to usurp disciplinary authority in order to force priests and religious to accept the conciliar indoctrination and apostasy of the Bergoglian Church. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't want to know. Don't tell me. They give us a translation. Translation. Bishop Olson and those like him are using their power on behalf of the power-hungry Pope and his allies, the Bergoglians, to spread the blasphemous doctrine of the new church and suppress those good souls. Don't ever let anybody suppress your soul, dude. Traditionalist priests and nuns who follow the old holy ways. The nuns, he wrote, were an example of heroic resistance against corrupt power. No, I do think that they're an example of heroic resistance against corrupt power. But I don't know what the fuck else you're talking about, dude. Okay, bud. There's one twist left to this story. I need to eat a chip. They're kind of stale. On August 19th, Bishop Olson put out a statement on the diocese website declaring that Gerlach and her fellow nuns may have been automatically excommunicated, a very serious occurrence usually reserved for sins such as abortion and heresy. Abortion didn't exist when the Bible was written. Well, only spontaneous abortion, but now we call that a miscarriage, so... Is miscarriage a sin? I'm so glad I'm not fucking Catholic anymore. I mean, I am, but I'm like not, I'm lapsed. Gerlach's public refutation of Olson's authority, he wrote, has hurt me as a friend and as the bishop because of the deep wound this has cut in our unity. He wrote, it's hurt me as a friend and as the bishop because of the deep wound this has cut in our unity. Bishop, you're being dramatic. Nut up and take responsibility for your actions, Father. Bishop, whatever your first name is. Thus, it is with deep sorrow that I must inform the faithful of the Diocese of Fort Worth that Mother Teresa Agnes thereby may have incurred upon herself a latae centennae by her own schismatic actions. Excommunication. The Arlington Carmel remains closed to the public until such a time as the Arlington Carmel publicly disavows itself of these scandalous and schismatic actions of Mother Teresa Agnes. He's still threatening them. I stand ready to assist Mother Teresa Agnes on her path of recreational reconciliation and healing. Nice last line there. That's what this says. This, perhaps unsurprisingly, did not cow the nuns. On October 26, 2023. They put out one final statement reiterating that they didn't recognize Olson's authority no matter what the Vatican decreed. Stand strong, sisters. Fuck yeah, dude. The nuns say as follows. Every action he has taken with regard to us has proven to be devious and deceptive, marked by falsehood and an intent to persecute us. The nuns wrote, adding that Olson's actions and falsehoods had been gravely defamatory of the Mother Prioress. For these reasons, we will face with serenity and firmness any unjust canonical sanctions that the present bishop may inflict. They declared, it is Olson, they wrote, who is first in disobedience to the authority of God. Wow. I'm proud of these women. Dude. Because, like, what? At the very most, one of the nuns, like, sent some flirty text messages to, like, a priest in North Carolina. Because she's been a nun since she was a teenager, and she got a little horned up, as any natural creature would. And she didn't really act on anything. Not physically. I mean, I guess she physically text messaged and video chat. Dude, that was a little wild. Like, I skimmed over the article before I printed it out, and I also, like, I dug up the lawsuit, right? But I don't feel like I need to get into it at this juncture. I feel like I have a good understanding of, there's something wrong with the bishop. I don't know, dude. What do you think? How fucking weird is this? Are you Catholic? No? Okay. I understand. You're Protestant? Okay. What do they do? I know what the Methodists do. If you're Jewish, subscribe. I'm never talking about religion again. And I want to thank you for listening. I feel like forgiveness of your sins is very important, so I want you to forgive yourself for the time that you have wasted watching this video. And have a good day.